Hi, everyone. It's Samantha Graf Benmore from the Graf Group Toronto, and welcome to another edition of Real Talk. Our special guest today is high conflict divorce coach Stacey Mendelson. Hi, Stacey.
Hi, Samantha.
It's so great to have you on here. And I am super excited for this chat because everybody out there in the divorce sphere of trying to educate and help are all talking about January being the month of divorce, and divorce month is January. And Stacey came up with this brilliant saying about it. And it is, I'm going to pass it over to you to say it.
Well, I don't want January to be divorce month. I want January to be get your ducks in a row month.
Brilliant. I just love it because, first of all, as a realtor, we like to organize the house. We like everything in place. And if you listen to us, the job gets done because it's all set up. So let's talk about this concept and maybe break it down into steps as to how you get those ducks in a row for your clients.
For sure. A lot of people, when January hits, they've gone through the holidays and the new year, and they're like, okay, this is the year I'm going to do it. This is the year I'm leaving my marriage. And they finally get up the courage to do it. And the mistake that people will make is not taking a pause and getting their ducks in a row. They just decide to drop the divorce bomb on their soon to be ex, on their spouse, and they are actually a sitting duck rather than having their ducks in a row. And for all they know, their spouse might have been getting their own ducks in a row for the last several months and
Right.
planning for this. So, my advice is to just take a pause while you're still under one roof and take the time to get your ducks in a row. And what that really means is planning and preparing, getting organized, planning and preparing. You can still hope for the best, but let's plan for the worst, because the more organized and prepared we are, the less problems we're going to have, the more we can mitigate any kind of conflict or problems.
So when you say getting things in order, I think people are probably, first of all, their head is probably like just 100 times bigger because there's so much going on in there. And how can we break that down even further, maybe on a financial level, an emotional level? Obviously, emotional is probably where we'd start with a divorce coach. I would say that it probably, most people think that's all it is, but it really goes into a lot more with the coach.
Yeah. Well, most of the clients that I meet with are really afraid to get separated or divorced. And I use that fear as an important emotion to look at and say, why are we afraid here? Like, is there something to fear here? And what is it that we're worried about? Because most people realize that leaving their relationship or leaving their marriage is going to bring risk. It's going to bring an emotional risk, it's going to bring a financial risk, and it's going to sometimes bring a physical risk. And the more that we can identify what those risks are, we can prevent the risks by knowing ahead of time, by actually doing this work with a client and seeing, like, emotionally, like most of my clients, their pain points are poverty, money, and the children, that my kids end up unscathed. So that's the emotional part. Okay, how can we mitigate these problems now? Like, if I know that my soon to be ex is going to take a run at shared parenting and I don't think that's best for the child, let's think about it. This is likely to come my way. What can I be doing now to show how and why this is not in the child's best interest? What records can I be taking now? So I have a bunch of steps that I've even done a training on this, on, how to get your ducks in a row so that you will have less grenades hurled at you when
Right.
you do leave.
So maybe what might be helpful to our viewers here is what if we create a little scenario, and as if, this is the situation that's going on. So let's say I'm Okay, you can use my name, right? Like, so, or no, maybe no, don't. I don't want any bad karma. Sally, we'll say
Sally.
Sally, is, thinking about leaving their spouse.
Right.
And they have two children.
Yep.
Let's say what, both in elementary school.
Yep. Both two children under age 12, let's say.
Okay. They own a house. They're not
Yep.
renting. They own the house. The kids are, they go to public school, not private
Yep.
school. They go to a public school, so it does matter where they live. I'm trying to give you fuel for like I know where like
Let's say
where
one of the let's add to this. Let's say one of the kids has ADHD and
yes,
it
yes,
hasn't yet been diagnosed, but
right.
we're
Okay,
worried that one of the kids has ADHD and maybe needs a psych ed assessment and maybe needs to be on medication. And we've got this house and my parents loaned us money towards the house. Like there's just a whole bunch of stuff. And my spouse controls, does all the payments for the house. Let's say like this would be a
right.
very typical situation.
Exactly. And maybe, like I know you deal with a lot of women, does not mean you don't deal with men, but you deal primarily with women. And you know, we're both professional women, and there are a lot of women out there that work and they are contributing, but they may or may not be the breadwinner, so to speak, in the relationship. So
Right.
that talking about fear, that's going to go to another level there. So we've
Yeah.
got, as you mentioned, all these different variables that are 100% going to add fear to this decision. Do I stay or do I go, basically?
Exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, once you've sort of the January feeling, I'm definitely going, I'm getting out of this, the best thing you can do is prepare for it, get your ducks in a row.
Right.
So, while you're still living, like step one, while you're still living under the same roof, is become financially informed about your marriage.
Right.
Like,
Know
be,
where your name is. Like if it's a property, for example, no,
yes,
like you should be aware, is your name on title? Like some people don't
yes,
even know. They don't remember. Maybe it's been a, 20, 30-year marriage, and they don't know that at one point they actually got removed from title or they were put on and their husband was taken off, which could, change
yeah,
things for you. Not really with matrimonial law, but I'm not a lawyer and I'm not saying that, but it does change things. But know that and know where is the money coming from if you have a mortgage? What account is it coming out from? Property taxes, how is that paid? Who pays
right.
for
Who
it?
who is paying for what is a great question you
Yeah,
should be answered. Like, what are the monthly expenses in this house? We've got a mortgage, we've got a line of credit, we maybe have private school, we have ski club, we have whatever the things. What's our monthly net?
expensive.
What's coming out and where's it coming from? Why do you
Exactly.
need to know that? Well, because as soon as you drop the divorce bomb, if your ex is going to be high conflict, which is the kind of divorce I work in, there's going to be like suddenly, I'm not making any money. I lost my job. I don't have. So you need to know ahead of time. Well, for the last 6 years, he's paid for Toronto French School or,
Yeah.
have that information. And along with that, look on LinkedIn, take a picture of your spouse's profile because if your ex is going to do some shenanigans and become willfully underemployed or suddenly lose his job or her job, I shouldn't speak in a gender.
You're used to it though because of
Yeah,
your
exactly,
clientele.
exactly. It would be really good. You'll be glad that you did this. So while you're living under one roof, become financially informed, know who pays for what, know what assets you guys have. Okay. Do you have a car? Do you have a boat? Do you have a cottage? Do you have how many properties do you have? And what is owing on these properties? That would be a terrific thing
100%.
to start with. This you have a unique opportunity to get snapshots. Okay, snapshots even for all you know, your spouse has accounts that you don't know about, but it's leaving the stuff available like on the kitchen table. Grab a snapshot of it,
Yeah.
which
And
then leads
this
me to
is, oh,
the
sorry.
big complaint I get from my clients. Well, I'm not sneaky. I'm not like that.
Mm.
I agree. Like nobody wants to be sneaky. I'm not suggesting anybody should be sneaky. I'm
It's well
suggesting you should
informed.
know this anyways. Like you shouldn't have to be a sneak to know these things. You're entitled to, like, I'm sure, Samantha, you know what's going on with you and Steve financially. I know
Mm-hmm.
what's going on with my husband, David,
100%.
a
Yep.
100% of the time. Right. There's full transparency. So it's not sneaky. And also I'm asking my clients to value to to understand that they need to value their safety as much as they value their persona of being the perfect wife who doesn't snoop around.
Yeah. I think also like I think the word snoop should just be changed to informing yourself, like educating yourself. Because like you said, like, not all women do know what is going on with the finances. They've chosen to remove themselves in some cases, and in others, they weren't part of it. They weren't even made part of it.
Yeah,
And maybe they were made not made part of it for a reason, or they just didn't want to be bothered with it.
yeah. I
But
think it's often that way. That's often how it starts.
yeah, yeah. And so, like, it's a zero blame situation. It's
Yeah,
just that it really goes back to your wording of get your ducks in a row. It's really a month. It's not a month of divorce. It's a month of educating yourself, and preparing yourself so that when you do make that decision, to go your separate ways. You actually make a decision from a place of knowledge. It's just like I educate my buyers or my sellers. You don't just throw your house on the market and throw a number on it. You've
right.
got to educate yourself on the market. And that's not, I mean, price is super, super important, but you need to call an agent so that we can tell you about who's buying in the area. How do they negotiate? What are they looking for in a home? I mean, does your house have in certain areas, like people won't qualify in certain price points because it doesn't have a separate entrance for the basement that they can claim for rent, for example. Just educate yourself. And that's why divorce coaches have become so much more valuable to the process than most people ever probably thought they would be, but they really are because they can help educate you, as well as guide you emotionally
Yes,
through that education process, because during that education process, you might get really upset about what you're going to find out. And,
absolutely.
your emotions can then be tailored a little more. And one of my favorite things that Stacey, when I first met her, said to me, she goes, I turn chihuahuas into golden retrievers. And I just thought another brilliant Stacey Mendelson comment. Like, I
Yeah,
just love it because I have a dog. I do not have either one of those dogs. And a golden is super, super nice. Like, but they're too big and they shed, and that's just not my thing. So, but I have a little cute dog. And let me tell you, she was a little yappy in the beginning, but she got trained by
yeah,
me.
good, good. You turned your yappy little dog into a golden like
You
dog.
know,
That's great. Yeah, absolutely. It's so step one for sure, become financially informed. You will save yourself possibly tens of thousands in future legal fees, investigations, all of this stuff. Like there's just no downside to that. Even if you end up reconciling or staying in the marriage, it's great to have that transparency. And then the next thing I like to have my clients do is to start collecting evidence or documenting. And so people will say, well, what am I supposed to write about? Like, what am I supposed to do? And
right?
the answer is to write about anything that you think your ex is going to be obstructive for or take a run at. So if you think you have an ex who's going to become suddenly poor and not be able to support you, even though he or she has supported the family for the last 10 years, then you want to start collecting information on how much your spouse is traveling, how much they're golfing, what kind of money are they spending in restaurants. Like, start poking holes in what you can see is going to be the grenade they send your way. I have to look at things in those ways because that's the specific niche in which I deal. I know most divorces don't fall into my niche. If you think that this completely disinterested, unengaged parent is suddenly going to want to have shared parenting for the 3 and 5 year old, even though they've like basically never been around as a parent, but they'll do that because they'll do anything to avoid paying you child support. Okay, great piece of knowledge to have. This is a time to start documenting what kind of parenting time they're taking with the kids. What are their hours of working? Are they coming home? Who's putting the kids to bed at night? And start actually doing like a daily journal of it. I'm not saying you're going to give a lawyer that journal, but working with a coach, we can make those things into very succinct charts, like pieces of evidence. Because, if you just say, well, he or she's never around for bedtime, and then it's a he said, she said, then your spouse says, I'm always around for bedtime. I've been the primary parent. Who, how can you know who to believe? So start collecting evidence and documenting while you're still under one roof about the things that you know they're going to take a run at.
And I think that that advice is really, really valuable, especially on a financial level. And the reason being is that you now, as the spouse who has worked with Stacey, is now going to talk to you, probably to Stacey even, about I was thinking about this lawyer. Do you know them? What do you think? Um, and then Stacey can also help you choose the lawyer who you would want to potentially reach out and interview with. And remember, you're interviewing them and they are interviewing you too, because a lot of, especially the top lawyers, do not have time for everybody, right? They can't take everybody on. But I think it's really important that you yourself go to a lawyer with as much information that is compact, though. You will get
Yes.
that much more value out of the short conversation you might be granted with a lawyer before they make a decision whether to work with you or not, and how they can help you. And the biggest question I do know that is asked by spouses going through divorce is, how much is my divorce going to cost? And I don't think anybody can actually answer you that. You can answer that question from a complete place of knowledge because they only know your side of the story and they don't know your spouse. So they don't know what to expect. But you, as the spouse, are the person with the most amount of information on. I almost said the house because that is my language in my
Yeah.
house.
Well, that's
Because
one of the things.
right? And I always say that to the seller. I'm like, look, I'm going to create your brochure and like all your details on your house, but you're going to proofread it. Why? Because you know your house best.
Yeah.
You have
Insider
lived,
information.
right? So, but the problem is when it comes to divorce and the emotions that are involved and the stories, like download that with Stacey because she's going to guide you. She's going to listen to you for sure, but she's also going to bring you back to that narrow path that the lawyer needs you to be on and that will save you money in
Oh,
the end.
yeah. Yeah.
And that's where I think there's many places. I'm a big, big supporter of divorce coaches because I think it's a brilliant addition to the whole entire team that you need when you're going through um, a separation or divorce. But on a financial level, I honestly believe it will save you a lot
Oh,
of money in a lot of
for sure.
different steps, as you're saying. And this is one. Be prepared before you go to the lawyer and also ask your coach, who you should be really working with, or feel free to ask me because I know a ton of lawyers and I actually have divorce coaches asking me for referrals to the different lawyers. And I'm like, tell me about your client a little more because that's how we all help you move forward and match you with the right person.
Yeah, matching is like, I think matching is a bit of a superpower. I think there is the one perfect lawyer for each case. And so like you're bringing up one of my steps of getting the ducks in a row, which is plan your legals.
Yeah.
And part of planning your legals is choosing your counsel and have them sitting in the wings.
Yeah.
So choosing counsel, we're going to do it. Let's do another talk on that because
Yeah. I'd love
that's
to.
an issue unto itself. And it's a really like, I have a very specific process
I'm
for
writing
making
it
it
down
happen.
so I don't forget.
Okay, I'll remind you, don't worry. But there's no question, like, so becoming financially informed, documenting and collecting evidence, a few other things, but planning your legals, which means choosing your lawyer and your legal strategy,
Mm,
is essential because you have insider information. Yes, you're right. We don't know what your ex, the soon to be ex is going to say, but nobody knows their soon to be ex like the spouse.
right.
And bringing there's pertinent information that they have that actually can predict exactly what obstacles you're going to face in getting this divorce and exactly what the pain points of the soon to be ex are that we can use to expedite things.
And I can see Stacey, she probably knows how to fish or something because she probably goes like this and goes, and she pulls it right out of you.
Well, it's funny that you
She
say
pulls
that
it
because
out of the water. The body of water is the
I was just on a call with a client, a new client who had a lot of domestic violence in
Mm,
her marriage, and I had to actually like pull it out of her. And she wonders why the police didn't, you know, charge him in a fulsome way
mm.
when he was removed from the house. Well, it's because you're a shitty witness.
And
Like
she, yeah, she didn't
I had to
communicate.
yeah, I have to pull it out. So a divorce coach will really help. That brings me to the next duck
Step.
to put in the row, which is establish relationships with any third party professionals while you're still together. Because right for most of my clients, they are the CEO of their children in the
Right.
marriage. Okay. So they don't have to ask like permission. Like they might run things by their spouse, but if the child needs a math tutor or a child needs ADHD, a psych ed assessment, it's not like a big drama we have to go to court for. Like mom says, little Peter needs it, and dad says, okay, go ahead.
Right.
This is your time while you're still under one roof and you haven't dropped any
Mhm.
separation bomb, that if anything that you're thinking about that your kids might need in terms of third party professionals, get it going now
Mhm.
before it becomes a legal battle and a judge has to make that decision.
Right.
That's so if you like have a child who is having, emotional issues or, you know, suicidal ideation or cutting or any of those things or eating disorders, get things on board now while you're still a family unit because it creates a status quo. And that way, once the marriage has split up, it's a lot harder to get rid of that professional. So that professional
So
is on.
crazy how like the brain works, and you can align things like in the house. Like I tell the clients
Yeah,
that they should get as much done. We do a pre-home inspection. I'm
right,
very big on those, not because we're holding back offers and all that. That has a it's it goes back to exactly every single time we sort of use a step, we keep sort of emphasizing the idea that things are in place, things are taken care of as much as possible. There's a lot of knowledge going on. And that's where the pre-home inspection in the house, I always encourage, even in my divorce cases where I know they don't want to spend any more money. They're
right.
like, I don't want to spend money. I'm like, look, here's the thing. This knowledge is power. And in negotiations, knowledge is power.
Agreed.
And at the end of the day, you are educated on your home in a way that the buyer is not. And they can go and get their own home inspector.
Right.
Just like the spouse is going to go get their own counsel and come up, but keep gathering the evidence, as you said, documenting, keeping yourself really informed is going to put you in a place of greater strength to
Yes,
negotiate.
yes,
And I remember I just did one. I did two actually. And, they didn't have a lot of money in the first place, like to be, spending on this. And I really,
right.
really pushed them. And I said, when someone comes at you and says, "Oh, I got to go put a separate side entrance in for this," it's like, no, actually, you don't, because we talked to the home inspector about the possibility of it, first of all, because I knew in that area that was going to be a really important factor for a lot of the buyers. So we did that. Then we went and got a quote from somebody in real time so that we knew this is what it would cost today to do so.
Yeah, you preempted the problems.
Exactly. Like, and that's exactly what you're suggesting also is like
Yeah,
just have an answer to what and this is where the knowledge comes in and working with the professional to know and to maybe in a lot of cases, like you said, that the client might not be communicative. It just might not be their strong suit. So you have to sort of pull out that information from
yeah.
them. And that's where the professional knows to ask for that information in the first place, because that's part of strategy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like you and I both have the same goals. Like we want to make it to the finish line in the least amount of time with the least amount of expense, right? Your finish line is a sold house or a bought house or a completed real estate deal. My finish line is a good parenting plan, safe physical separation, fair financial settlement.
But at
And
the end of the day, both of us still have that mutual goal of at least I think I'm pretty sure we do, is that there's another life on the other side.
yeah,
And right now, our clients don't see that. But you and I both know, because we're living that second life, so to
yeah,
speak.
we are.
I might not have personally been through divorce, but I went through Steve's and I now live what we call his life after divorce. And, you have that experience also. And we know what life after divorce is. We know how strong the relationship, the communication, actually, part of what you do probably is why everyone has these beautiful lives after, because their communication skills are that much greater after being
No
coached.
question.
They're learning that. And I know it's almost like, even just like when you can't see that. When I move a client from a house to a condo, they're like, I
Right.
can't do the condo thing. I can't. When they finally make the move, the first call to me is, why didn't you make me move earlier? I'm like, I've only been working on you for 6 years, but I'm a really patient person.
Clearly.
Yes, I have a client right now, 8 years in. I'm like, okay, we're getting really close. It's good. It's going to happen this year.
Well, like I think what happens to both of our clients is a transformation, right?
Yeah.
And it's a path that is paved with power. Going from like
And
old
very strong
residents to new
emotions.
residents, that is not at all what they had envisioned, or going from, married to separated and divorced. It's not what necessarily what we envision, but
Yeah.
doing it right, mitigating conflict, mitigating problems with smart preparation. There's just, listen, every profession does it. Like surgeons prepare, they
Yeah.
have all their instruments laid out carefully, and then they have other
I
instruments
hope they prepare.
that
Can
they
you imagine
might
they
need
just
just in
dove
case,
in
and
there?
then they have like emergency protocol prepared. Like that's the professional way of doing stuff. So just like leaving a marriage like a sudden decision is not going to put you in the best situation at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of planning and strategizing and hiring a divorce coach like yourself is like literally the first step. It really is. I want to put that out there.
It's a really good first step that most people go right to the lawyer. And I promise you, you won't go to the right lawyer because none of us have know how to choose a lawyer. Like that's not something we've ever done before.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, one of in getting ducks in a row, we definitely plan the legals and I direct consults. And there's a certain way that I help my clients do consults and I'll direct them to two or three lawyers that I think are right for their cases. And there's not time wasted and there's not that huge expensive mistake of wrong lawyer and wrong legal strategy, which
yeah,
I'm brought onto those cases often, like to take that Titanic that's on the bottom of the ocean and bring it back up. Those suck. Like I'd like to get them while they're still living under one roof.
yeah.
That
No,
that is
it
the
makes
ideal
sense.
time. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
And I think with that being said, I just think that you know, touching upon that point of hiring the professional that works best for you is a lot also like is a huge part of that planning
Yes,
that you should be speaking with people you trust. Um, if you have a professional who is somewhat tied to that divorce sphere, that's who you should be asking for your other
right.
referrals, most likely.
Yeah,
If you don't know a divorce coach or you don't know a lawyer, you don't know a realtor who specializes and knows all about the emotions. It's one thing to sell a house. It is a completely different experience to sell a home when two people are not on the same page.
for
You
sure.
really need a certain skill set for it.
I believe it.
Um,
Yeah,
and I, I can't even tell you the difference because I've done both
right.
situations. And sometimes, and I've done actually for that matter, I've been hired by lawyers. I've done estate sales where there's sibling rivalry. And let me tell you, that anger and upset with each other goes way back to childhood. So it's like it can be really, really hard. And at the end of the day, a lot of it is fueled over money. And
Yeah.
it's sad, but that is the truth of the matter. It really comes down
These are big emotional and very big financial issues. Like homes and selling homes, that's emotional, financial, divorce, emotional, financial.
100%. So we're going to leave everybody. And Stacey, just let people know where they can reach you. You'll obviously be tagged on this and everything, but where's the best place for people to find you?
Sure. My business is totally online. I'm on LinkedIn. My business is called Lifeline Coaching and Consulting. So www.lifelinecoaching.ca is how to find me or Google my name, Stacey Mendelson.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And I hope to all our viewers that you gain some type of knowledge and power from this. And you want to proceed with going to the next steps, reach out to Stacey. And if you want any referrals from either one of us, we're always happy to help in any way that we can. So have a great afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this. And we look forward to seeing you on the next Real Talk with the Graph Group Toronto. See you. All right. I don't even know how to stop recording, so somebody will fix that for me.
Okay, well, I'll tell you.
I'm not sure
It says
where.
it at the top
I
right.
probably should put my glasses on. That might help. Oh, I see. There's this recording.